More than 7 million Black and African American adults deal with severe mental illness.
Unfortunately, Black and African American providers make up a very small portion of behavioral health provider workforce. This often leads to mistrust that the system is not culturally competent enough to understand or treat specific issues. For nearly 4 decades, the mental health field has been called to focus in improving cultural awareness, knowledge, and skills. Here at BestSelf, we have accepted that call. Through racial equity and inclusion, we continue to make great achievements.
So far, 937 employees have completed the 4-hour REI training.
We have 84 active REI champions. MLK Day has now become an agency-wide recognized holiday. Our executive and senior team has increased racial diversity from 6% to 20%. Meet some of our Black leaders here at BestSelf.
When they first come to the Lighthouse, they live in what's considered congregate care living, upstairs dorm style, but each family has their own room.
My experience with BestSelf is that it wasn't about me being able to just help the agency grow. It helped me grow as a person. And so being a vice president today really speaks to BestSelf, the culture. It really speaks to the investment they have in individuals, because they absolutely invested in educational and training and things like that for me to be able to actually have an experience where I am most celebrated, where I am most valued.
Black leadership is important because it's critical to have representation in anything that you do. We, as an agency, we're looking toward diversity and inclusion, and having a Black leadership being part of that, it promotes change. It doesn't really look at the numbers only, but looking at making it happen and being able to hear your voice. Being able to know that you are being heard is important, because you know that you are not making, you are not just a number. You are being part of that change.
Provide services to homeless populations on evenings where the temperature or wind chill falls beneath 15 degrees.
So Black leadership is important for many reasons. The two reasons that stand out to me, though, are representation and perspective. I think when it comes to representation, I think people who are looking to advance their careers themselves, or looking for support, Black people in particular, they're looking for Black leadership, right? And they're looking for people that represent them and that can relate to them in order to whether it's, to advance their careers, looking for someone for mentorship, or if they're looking for supports and services, they're looking for someone that can relate to them. So I think that's one reason that Black leadership is important.
Black leadership is important because, at least for me, it's a reminder of sacrifices. And so when I think of what an image of Black leadership looks like, I have pictures or thoughts of people like Nelson Mandela, or Martin Luther King, or Colin Powell, Mae Jemison, first Black astronaut. The list can go on, from athletes, Muhammad Ali, individuals who there's a journey or a story to their journey. And a lot of that is some disparities that people of color have had to experience. But it shows how they've overcome some of that, or a lot of that, to make it to the place where they ended up being, or whatever. And so that's the encouragement for me, that that even my position today, that it wasn't something that that necessarily came easy, that work has to be put in, and the work is not done.
How you doing today, Rachel? Good, good. How things going with you? Because we bring value to the table. It's some of your best leaders have been Black. And so now it's time to make it in the workplace where it's more inclusive, and it's no longer that you have to work hard or be an overachiever because you're working against all the odds to be a Black leader, but because we're great Black leaders.
It's important to bring different perspectives to the table, and different networks to the table. And I think that's how companies flourish. And I think when you have diverse voices, someone can come to the table with an idea that you never would have thought of because of their background and their experiences. And I think that's really important.
And Black leadership is truly the center of all leadership. It's the center of the struggle, it's the center of progress, it's the center of hope. And so having Black leadership, true Black leadership in an organization shows the trajectory and the success of the overall organization.
Black leadership is important because it answers a call to a transgenerational beginning of our ancestors and forefathers and what they knew could happen but did not. I think it's an answer to what our parents and grandparents prayed for. I think it's an answer to what our children can definitely achieve. And I think it's an overall answer to change.
Black leadership is important, not just within BestSelf, but within any organization, any population, any community, because what it does is it adds lived experience to the table, as well as it shows positive examples that leadership can come in all shapes, sizes, different colors, backgrounds culturally. And I feel that with Black leadership, it also shows a representation of what Black professionals are capable of doing, which is anything.
BestSelf will maintain an active racial equity and inclusion committee whose mission is to continually examine current practices, ensuring racial equity is the focus in all of our work, and most of all, hold the organization accountable to the standards set.